concert. Well, hello! Can you believe that you are in a room this big with this many other women who are doing what you're doing? What some of you have been doing for a long time and didn't tell anybody? Oh, God, you look great. This is fabulous. First, when I was contacted by Women Grow, first I thought, oh, maybe I'll get taller. But that's not what it's about. So glad you laughed at that. I was like, what are they doing laugh at that? No, and no, this is, I want to tell my journey because I find that when I tell my journey, it inspires. And that's some of the best things, that's some of the best stuff we can do for each other is to inspire each other. And that's what's so great about Women Grow because this is, it's very special. And you are. And as I've been an advocate now for cannabis for over 10 years, I do liken it very much to the LGBT and the marriage equality movement because it's about coming out. It's about being who you are and feeling confident in who you are wherever you are, with family, at your job, with friends, in your neighborhood, to show, because we have such a thing that we have to, that stereotype, oh yeah, stoner, you're gonna, you know, that whole thing that we have to work against, and all that crazy fear that we have. So let me tell you my experience. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up, state over, I grew up in Kansas. Nobody from Kansas. Not a single Kansas person.
Best friends in Kansas. Shout out, Miranda.
And Kansas needs your help, I'm telling you that right now. They're still locking up people and taking kids away and stuff in Kansas. So that we need that's on my radar right now. My sweet hometown. It's true. It's true. But I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas, and my father was a high school teacher, and my mother worked for the Army. She was a civil servant. She was like a computer scientist, super duper smart. And of course now she's older and she has dementia, which is something that is treatable with and I'm finding is very treatable with her, with the cannabis. That's a whole other journey. But yeah, it's such good medicine. But I grew up, and it was a Midwestern town. It was Leavenworth. It was a prison town. I like to say I spent 18 years in Leavenworth. That's another joke. You are such a good audience. Yeah, come with me. And so I grew up and really didn't have much contact with cannabis much till I was in high school, and I had my first girlfriend, and she was like, let's get some pot. I don't know how to get pot. I don't know anything about pot, but I knew that the girl who sat behind me in creative writing would know how to get pot. Because she was that girl. And indeed, I asked her, and indeed she said, okay. And she gave me, you know, a bud, right? I was like, thanks. What do I do? I had no idea. Nothing. There was no YouTube. You can go look how to roll the best joint. There was nothing. It was nothing. So we went off into the woods, and nothing happened. Anyway, and it was all dry. And it was, who knows, you know. But it was not the right experience. But then later, I went to school in Boston. I went to Berklee College of Music, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is in the house. So in Boston, then met another woman. And she was walking me home one evening, and we sat down on a stoop, and she pulled out a joint, and I was like, oh, look at this. And it was the first time I smoked. And I remember going, what is this? This is amazing. But then I never really had much of an experience with it. And it's funny because I'm in rock and roll. And, you know, that's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I did the sex and the rock and roll, but not so much drugs. Mainly because the drugs that people were doing with the horrible, the cocaine and the awful stuff like that. And I was like, no way, no way. And cannabis, again, wasn't around. It wasn't something I did socially. Then by the time the 90s came, I was like, okay, you know, so-and-so is going to have a joint. Oh, that'd be fun, you know, and we would do this and that. And it was just social and fun, and it's something that's against the law, but we do it anyway, sort of thing. We just don't tell anyone. We said, well, don't ask, don't tell, sort of thing. See? And so life goes on, and life is great, and I have divorces, and life happens to me, and crazy things happen. And one morning I wake up and have a lump in my breast. My life completely changed. I'm diagnosed stage 3, 2, cancer, right around there. I try to forget all of it. And immediately start this journey of what I found the medical community to be, which was kind of a conveyor belt. Kind of, this doctor looks at you and okay, they say cancer starts when cells go bad, here's your number. You know, you're a 30%, 3.2 centimeter, it's all numbers, right? And you hear this and this and that, you're stage this, you're this, boom, next doctor. Cancer starts when cells go bad, boom, boom, boom. You know, and finally, I get to the surgery and the chemotherapy part. You'll have to do chemotherapy because the numbers say the chances, it's all numbers. And I start chemotherapy, and right before I start, my good friend David Crosby calls me up. If you don't know, he's the father of 2 of my children. He happens to be. That's a whole nother convention. But he calls and he says, Melissa, you're about to do this. You must get some cannabis. You must. All my friends have done this, said you must. I was like, all right. So this is 2004, and yes, it is medicinally legal in California, but you don't want to go to any of the places, right? You don't want to go. I don't even know where they are. So I find a good roadie to go to a place, and he brings me, and he starts showing me all the stuff that's available in the cannabis dispensaries. And I start smoking. And for the first time, I'm smoking medicinally. I am smoking just to feel okay. Not to get high, not to do anything, but just to be able to function, be able to talk to my children and not be doubled over in pain. They, because I didn't have to work, because I was able to take work off, they gave me dose dense therapy, chemotherapy, which means they just take you as close to death as they can. Because they just gotta kill it all. It's a very Western way of looking at our bodies, I don't know. And they just killed, and it was horrific. It was horrible, horrible. And the only thing that kept me sane was the constant smoking, then vaping, because I eventually got so sick that I couldn't even smoke it anymore. I had to vape it. Got to a point where I couldn't even do that. I had to eat it. It was butter on potatoes constantly. It was medicated butter, yes. And only thing that got me through, only thing that was able to, thus I did not take the steroids, I did not take the pain reliever, I did not take the medicine the 4 or 5 medicines that they wanted to give me and the side effects that they had that could be taken care of with this one herb, this one natural herb. So after going through that experience for 3 months, I got out of the other end and went, there's something very wrong in our world. That this is illegal. That there's women out there who are going through what I just went through, and they are not allowed the relief that I received. And the first thing I did after, the first thing I did in public was I went on the Grammys and sang. I do things very large. I was bald as could be and sang on the Grammys, did Janis Joplin, Piece of My Heart. And it was, thank you. And so I did that, and then Stone Phillips was like, came in for, I did one interview after that. I was like, ooh, and so he interviews me, and I show him around, and I say, off camera, I say, look, cannabis absolutely helped me through this, and I want to speak about it, and I don't know how. He said, well, maybe not this first interview, But we'll do a follow-up interview in 6 months. I said, okay. So I kind of go out about my business, and 6 months go by, and I sit down for the interview, and I kind of forgot that I had mentioned this to him. And one of the first questions, so medicinal marijuana helped you? I was like, oh, here I am, I'm an advocate. There you go. And that's what we can do. We can speak about it. And that's what I started to do. I said, yes, this is how it helped me. This is what it did. And the path then from there led me to the most amazing people in California who are working so hard. And I know you're here today. I know California's in the house. Yes. And every month, hearing new news coming out, well, there's no research. Well, you won't let us research because it's a Schedule 1, and the whole hypocrisy of the whole paradigm. And that's why I'm calling this speech the cannabis paradigm, because that's what we're doing, is changing the paradigm. Not just cannabis. Cannabis is the leader, is the thing that's going to push the whole conversation about health. And that's why Women Grow is so important. That's why it's so important that you are here. Because what is missing on the cannabis health on the larger level is the balance of the matriarch and the patriarch and the feminine energy in our whole paradigm, in our whole, let's get a little spiritual and talk about that that's what is changing in the world right now. And cannabis, being the female plant, being the female spirit that we know, is pushing this, is demanding the attention, is proving itself over and over. It is bringing back what we lost, that pagan knowledge that we had of medicine, of wellness, of all that stuff that we were burned at the stake for, And so we find ourselves in 2016, a place where when I even tell, I have a 19, oh my God, 19-year-old daughter, and when I tell her she's going to Columbia University, I just want to brag. She's in a women's studies class. She's going to rock the world. I'm happy to tell you. Because when I start telling her, well, back in the 60s, women couldn't even get a credit card. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I mean, she's just, when we're talking about 2016, that's what's happening. The paradigm of all this wellness that we have in our hearts, that we have in our spirits, because we are women, because we are natural nurturers, because that's just the way that this whole thing was made, because the polarity of the male and female, the male energy and the female energy, and how that works. It's our job, it's our nature to heal, to want to look for better, and to want to look to the earth for those answers. To look more homeopathic than allopathic. And that's what has been out, because, I mean, I could do a whole nother speech about, medicine and where all that went wrong. And yet, here we are today we find ourselves not only at the precipice of a paradigm changing, but also with that, business opportunity, money. Now, we as women, money was the bad thing. Money was the system. Money was them. We're going to do this, and it's been, 30, 40, 50 years, we've kind of given it up and provided the free service, provided the compassion, did that. Well, it's time now for us to become balanced, for us to become the male and female inside of ourselves and run that business with the knowledge of the health and the wellness, and also the other energy, the yin, the yang energy of capitalism, of business. And we will show you that it can work. We will show all the things that we look at a corporation and go, oh, they're killing us. We can create our own, showing the tax revenues that we can provide, showing the things we can grow, and coming out and showing the health and the wellness. I am involved in this dispensary. I'm also involved in some products that will be coming up very soon. I'm going to get really, really noisy about this. And the thing is, I'm in a really great position to speak about it. I tell people I'm the least active activist because I really don't have to do anything. I just answer questions. And everybody wants to talk about this. Everybody does. I go on Good Morning America. They'll talk to me about it on Good Morning America, So this is the kind of path that I'm on. I have products, I have ideas, I have people, I have land, I have grows. It's so extremely exciting. I'm also involved in a coalition that is coming out right now. It's called the National Cannabis Coalition, because there's some women who know that all this work that we are doing on states levels, what we are really missing is that one big national movement. So that even in states like this, when they say, well, it's still illegal federally, that sort of thing can be taken care of. This is the National Cannabis Coalition. If you text NCC to 420. What is it with that? I just, don't you find yourself, it's 420, look at that. We have just taken, April 20th is our holiday, isn't it? It just is. It's funny how we do that, but it's a beautiful thing. But if you text that, you can join this coalition. We need your leadership. We need your energy. We need to take all this energy that we've got on the states levels, and we need to push it. We need to make sure that the people that are getting elected know that these are issues that they must talk about and they must face, and that their constituencies are interested and needing this. So please join us, and we're gonna rattle some walls. We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, that's it. There it is. I was supposed to change it, but they changed it for me because they're good like that. Because I'm a smoker. You joker?
A midnight toker.
Well, they said I could talk as long as I want, but I'm not going to take up too much of your time.
No, keep talking,
I
please.
know.
We'll never kick you out.
I'm so inspired by each and every one of you. I wish you the best. I wish you strength, even when you realize that you have spent more money than you have on these projects and products, even though everybody runs away from you, even though banks, every institution that we have will not deal with you. Thank you for keeping on, keeping going. Thank you for not letting this momentum, this dream die. This is what it's about. This year, here you are. Next year, there will be twice as many. Next year, there will be more. This is a growing industry. This is so exciting. You mentioned cannabis to any money person on Wall Street. They'll go, oh yeah. They know what's coming. They know what hasn't worked. They know we haven't cured cancer. They know these things. And they are now us. There's not going to be an us and them pretty soon. We are all in this. We are all affected by dis-ease. All of us. So, thank you so much for letting me come out and do this. Join us.